Started. Okay, so thank you everybody for joining. Tonight we have a very special guest, Ramsay Mead, who is part of a company called Quicksilver Scientific. And it's a brand I'm fairly familiar with, was introduced to it about a year and a half ago. Started taking their products and just had a lot of really good benefits. And I've been taking products for over 25 years. And one thing I noticed with their product is very different in that there's no pills, there's no powders. It's all liquid based. Things like this, where you're basically putting a pump under your tongue and it absorbs through your tongue. And I've done my research on this. There's other brands that do this. When you have sublingual supplements, it absorbs faster into your bloodstream. So I got really fascinated by this, and then I reached out to Ramsay and started having discussions, met him a few months ago, and wanted to carry their product. So we're going to be carrying Quicksilver Scientific at OsteoStrong in Torrance. And it's got a lot of benefits. And he knows about our specialty in bone health and overall health and immunity. So he's going to be talking about that and Quicksilver Scientific and his journey in the health field. All right, take it away.
Awesome. Thanks, Brian. Really appreciate it. So I guess how I got started, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease when I was a teenager. And so I had to start taking vitamins and supplements and figuring out all the secret things you need to do to kind of get the digestive system in order, as well as just overall absorption of everything, because I wasn't absorbing anything. So through my trials and tribulations, I worked as an exercise physiologist. I worked as a nutritional therapist. I ran a detoxification clinic, and I ended up working in the nutraceutical division for a big company called Deficiency Labs. And I worked directly with a doctor who was the chief science officer, and he appointed me to a liquid facility that they acquired. And then from there, this was probably like up to about probably six years ago. And the whole talk of everything was liposomes. And that was, everybody was going to move away from taking pills and get into liposomal delivery. Now, liposomal delivery basically is, if you can just say, if this was a nutrient such as, I use this, it's B complex, but take a nutritional substance like B12, encapsulating it in a fat layer and making it so it can pass through the harshness of the digestive system in order to be absorbed in the lymphatic tissue, which is the furthest point of the small intestine. Well, then I met Dr. Christopher Shade, who is the founder and the whole engineer behind the technology of the liposome for Quicksilver Scientific. And he developed a liposome that would penetrate into the cell when held under the tongue. So this was kind of groundbreaking in nutraceuticals, because everything up until that point was really, there was some transdermal products, but ideally everything was having to come through the digestive system. And everything is contingent upon how healthy someone's digestive system is and how much you absorb through the process of being broken down. And one thing that somebody said to me probably about a year and a half ago, said, I like your products because I don't want to waste my money as it dissolves in my hydrochloric acid, and whatever, gambling result that I get from that is going to be the equivalent of the milligrams or the dosing that I get. With these products, because they're coming in this way, you always are going to get 100% of that dose. So it's very, very unique in that sense. We have a lot of different products that cover a broad range of things, from immune health, bone development and bone density development, as well as mitochondrial energy production and other things too. I mean, we stem from a detoxification company. Dr. Shade was really groundbreaking at determining how to find heavy metals in the body with what is called his tri-test, which is blood, urine, and hair, and a combination of finding out where it is hiding in the body. And then from there, he developed certain products that would go in and help remove those in a non-chelating way, which is very non-threatening, non-invasive to the body. And then from there, he started to get a lot of recognition and started to develop into further products that we have today. So, and right now, I think we're pushing somewhere in the high 50s in terms of products that we have now into the whole forte of it. So it's pretty interesting stuff. So I kind of want to get started with just some products that you guys are carrying and answer any questions along the way. If anybody has any concerns on anything, I know these may be new products to you. And it will also be new to your customers. And I think if you just kind of stay kind of basic with them, you'll be fine. And for the most part, you'll kind of see if you're familiar with vitamins, nutrients, and that type of things. What Quicksilver does, and I've noticed this with a lot of practitioners that I've worked with, is that it provides a really unique creativity for the program because the way it is rapidly absorbed and how quickly it works and the feedback that you'll get from customers. So it's very nice in that regard. So the one product that is the foundational product, when I say foundation, I mean what really encompasses the spark plug of life, and that's minerals. And to get them in trace minerals, there's two products here. The Keen Essential Ketone formulas in the 3.3 and the 0.9. Now, the difference between the two of them, the isotonic and the hypertonic, is the isotonic has been diluted with spring water to mimic blood plasma. And they used to come in a glass vial. Now they come in these sachets, which is very user friendly. You know, you can travel with them, take them wherever you want to go. And there's, just very, very simple and user friendly. When you take this product, and I just actually, as Brian was speaking, I took one. You just basically tear the top here and put it in the mouth. Now with this one, to maximize the effects of it, you want to hold it in the mouth before swallowing, just for, 10 to 30 seconds. You can put it in smoothies. You can mix it in any sort of like tea beverage. You can even cook with it. The most effective it's going to be is if you take it directly. The salinity, the 0.9 is a little less salt, less sodium too, for certain people that are concerned about that. But it doesn't really seem to bother too many people in terms of, it just tastes a little like drinking salt water. It's a very small amount. And like I said, you can chase it or mix it with something. It's not a problem. But the difference between the 0.9 is isotonic. That means it gets right into the cell. This was used in World War I and II for blood plasma transfusions. It's been around for, I think, 126 years now. Fascinating product. In Europe, there's books on this, on how to utilize it for so many things, from infections. There was a study called the Ketone Babies where they took, you had to have an average of, I think it was four or five miscarriages. They took 14 women, put them on the product. They all got pregnant. They all had healthy babies, and they tracked the kids. After that, it's just fascinating. The other side is a 3.3, which is the full concentration. This is cold water ocean extracted from a protected plankton bloom. These are taken in the same location, same exact product. This is just with spring water. This is the full concentration. These are trace minerals, so this is the equivalent of when you eat a high quality organic vegetable, in the sense that that vegetable is pulling nutrients out of the soil into the plant itself. This, as all life stems from the ocean, this is a highly concentrated, the highest degree of tidal shifting around this bloom that feeds zooplankton, has tons of crustaceans in the water. And this is where the whales will birth their babies, and they'll feed off the krill. When you see them open their mouth and all the little guys come out, those are feeding off this plankton bloom. You can see it from NASA. It's a protected thing. It's not on the shoreline. It's actually off in deep water. So it's a very unique product. We do not manufacture this product. We import this product. A gentleman that I work with, his name is Robert Slovak. He's the one responsible for bringing it into the States. He's an expert on water. And if you follow him on numerous podcasts, the other gentleman who talks a lot about Quinton is Thomas Cowan. So very unique product, excellent for hydration. If we talk about bone density and the two different differentials between the product, if somebody has heightened sensitivities, whether they don't absorb minerals well, they may have cancer, they may be just weakened immune, have problems, this is the product, the 0.9. In Europe, this is considered the medicine. 3.3 is considered the nutrient. I tend to like, depending on the person, I find out what their interest is. If they're an athlete working out in the sun, doing sauna therapy, heated yoga, those types of things under an extreme amount of stress, I'll start them with a 3.3. If they have a chronic long-standing condition, Crohn's disease, weakened immune, cancer, things of that nature, I will start them on this. Get them eventually turn them into the 3.3. But in the end, I like to end people up with this 0.3. This has a more calming, energetic effect. This has, as you can imagine, as you get more minerals in your body, especially if you're deficient, this is going to give you those energy boost, but not be stimulating, because again, it's just a natural trace element collection of minerals. If you look at other electrolytes, they're all really fabricated in a laboratory, and the human body has problems with them. It's the same to drinking purified water that is stripped of any minerals. Eventually, you're going to have problems unless you're doing something to offset that. As the minerals come in, we only take what we need, and the rest comes out. If you ever have any sort of concerns with somebody, if they have loose stool, it means they're taking too much of the product. They need to back off. On average, I would say you can take 3 of these a day at the very most that I've seen. That would be, one and then 2 of these. I've had, we have another product called a hypertonic that's a double dose of this. I can't take that much at one time. I sometimes can take 2 of these a day, but most often I like to take this in the morning, this in the afternoon, and this in the evening in a perfect world. If I'm just doing 1 a day, I tend to just take this one right here. Any questions on any of that?
What is it? Is it just for hydration? Does it help with bone density? Is it just to help you get water and with the minerals into your system if you don't drink enough water, or what?
I'm not sure if I heard everything that you said.
I was just wondering, is it just for hydration with a mineral boost, or does it help with bone density?
Absolutely. That's a very good question. When you're dealing with anything in the human body, whether it's any sort of biological change that you're trying to accomplish, if you do not have hydration in the cell, that means there's no conversion. The other thing is that minerals are the spark plug of life. What I mean by that is nutrition, good nutrition happens at the bone. So, and most people, they think the bone is dead, they think, but it's actually extremely alive, and it provides the root. In Chinese medicine, it's actually considered the chi of life. The bone, my skeleton, your skeleton. It's kind of that deep in terms of how it's viewed. So, but when you're looking at the development of bone, you have to get the right amount of minerals. And how do you get the right amount of minerals? You can't just take big, 500 milligram calcium, paired with magnesiums and things like that. It has to be a combination of many different elements. This has over 78 of the periodic elements in it, and it's perfect orientation. So your body, our bodies are genius in the sense of what it knows to take. Whereas as we're having this conversation, we could even look almost the same, but our bodies are not absorbing the same way. So I'll take what I need, you take what you need, and in the end, our body will regulate itself only if we provide the right amount of nutrients to it. So this is a very easy, takes the guesswork out of it in the sense of, when you're looking at developing a healthy bone, you have to look at minerals first. A lot of people overlook minerals because they don't have a lot of sex appeal to them. They're looking at other things. That's where NAD becomes real attractive, and there's other things, and they can be beneficial in certain attributes of bone development. But when you're looking at, you know, when you go to leave your house in the morning, you got to make sure you have shoes on your feet, right? And that's really what minerals are. Is they're the baseline that really supports the foundation. So from there, when you're looking at, you know, sustaining any sort of absorption, you need hydration. If you are dehydrated, that's where the cell spacing comes in terms of how it's going to convert, and it's going to absorb all the different types of nutrients that we need.
So does that have strontium in it too?
I'm sorry?
Does that have strontium in it too?
I can't hear you. I'm trying to think.
Strontium? Strontium? Oh,
Yeah. Does it have strong TM?
Strontium in it, yes.
okay. So what do you, because can anybody hear me? I don't know what.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're just really low. You're just really low. It's
God, that's weird because it's really loud.
there's a complete list of the periodic elements that are in there that I can send over to Brian.
Okay, but strontium, what is your feeling on that? Because I've been taking strontium forever, and now I'm reading this book on rebuilding your bones, and they're saying strontium is not good, that you shouldn't take it, that it does more harm than good. And so I'm sort of like, I've quit taking it, and I don't know what to do. And they say you can't, I would like to find isolated, they say you can't take calcium and magnesium together because magnesium overpowers the calcium. And they say you have to take the K1 and the K2 separately before you take the calcium, and the D3 goes with the calcium. So I'm looking for things that are isolated in order to be able to follow their routine. But I quit the strontium because they said that it's bad for you, and I didn't know. Also, the fact that I've been taking it for so many years, I didn't know if that was harmful to do that long.
I guess the short answer to that would be that this is in, if you can back up for a moment, this is in the trace element aspect.
Mm-hmm.
When you're looking at other things, again, Rene Canton was, I mean, the founder of this particular product. This has been around for, like I said, 126 years. Some people don't even know about this product in the States, and it's one of those things. Like I said, in Europe, it's used as medicine. When you're looking at taking isolated minerals and even certain types of vitamins, your body, especially when you take an abundance of that, and a lot of these aren't even bioavailable, you're going to run into all kinds of problems with that. You know, like taking calcium and things like that. This is just a simple, it's not going to hurt anybody. The only issue that you would ever have with this product is if somebody is hypersensitive to high blood pressure and the sodium content because their diet is already off the roof and they've damaged their metabolic system. I've had one case with that, and I got the woman on the 0.9, everything was fine. So it's I would say, I would do a Google search on Rene Canton. I can provide some information to Brian as well. This is the most fascinating, hydrating, mineralizing product that is not going to hurt anybody. You know, it's unbelievable. And again, when you look at trace elements, your body is going to acknowledge what it needs and what it doesn't need. And then from there, it's going to discharge it. You won't have, and like I said, the worst thing that could happen to you is loose stool. And once you are aware of that, you just back off. And then, either reduce the dose or take a day off and come back to it. And that's kind of the thing. I know I've learned my dose from it. Most people do. Some people have no problem with it. But yeah, it's a completely different way of approaching mineralization of the body.
So if I was to take that, because I'm stressing the osteoporosis, that's what I'm trying to correct. Is that, which one would I start out with?
Well, my suggestion would be yes. It would probably be the smartest thing that you can do. Whenever I see somebody that has a parent or friend or anybody suffering with osteoporosis or osteopenia, anything that's related to that, I get them onto this product.
Okay.
Along with the D3, K2.
Do you have that separate though, the K2 and the D3?
No, you want to take that together. You absolutely.
Why do they say they've done studies forever and that the K2, that if you mix it with the D3, that it takes everything out of the, they say you have to do the D3 with the calcium, and the magnesium has to be separate, and the K2 has to be before. And I've been having a heck of a time because you can't find them that aren't already mixed.
Well, all I can tell you is the school that I'm from, and I've worked with some really amazing doctors, that if you were to take, and I've seen calcium scans done on patients, and the thing is, when you take D3 with K2, it keeps it from getting lodged in the connective tissue. And that's what causes a lot of problems for people. And when you're looking at D3 conversion, my big question would be, are they getting enough sun exposure? Are they getting enough red light therapy? Are they actually moving the body to get oxygenated tissues? These are all things, and most everything I see, and especially with the COVID situation, people aren't converting vitamin D. So it doesn't matter if you're taking D by itself and K2 away from it. You have to look at how the body is taking it and how it's going to convert it. Because if you're stagnant and you're not getting those things and you're taking it, you could have, and people, especially as we age, the connective tissue dries up. Then you have a problem with the cell spacing. And then you have an issue with tumor development, because again, that's what it is as the tissue dries out, it starts to slow down and stack on each other and build out. So and we have so much now, people telling you to stay out of the sun, don't go in the sun. Well, I've been in the sun my whole life, and all the people that I know that have been healthy, I had a serious vitamin D deficiency. And I can't absorb zinc. I can't absorb vitamin D very well. So how do I do it? I have to take very low vitamin D with K2, and I have to be in the sun or experience red light therapy. So my ATP, mitochondrial cell conversion, can convert it. Until you actually, and most people's problems come from inability to convert it. So it's like you can take it, and say a doctor says to you, I need 10,000 international units. And I've had a friend whose mom had cancer, and this is a similar situation. She's taking a 10,000 international units of a capsule a day, but it's not making any changes. Why is it not making any changes? Because she's got a digestive problem and she's not getting in the sun. She's not getting any stimulation off it. Your body needs to be exposed to that spectrum of light. Your eye needs to get that spectrum of light in order for it to internally engage to convert it. So it's a whole process of sorts. And it really comes back to the soil that we consume from the plants that absorb it. And if we can get a seawater product that can, we can take with that to keep it all together. I do work with a store called Erewhon. They sell a juice there that they call a super juice, because they take a vegetable juice and then they put the seawater into it. When I say seawater, I'm referring to these products right here. So it's really about doing the due diligence and the homework of the body. Everybody, there's so much studies and stuff like that draw direct correlations to how things are beneficial, but everybody's a little bit different in terms of dosing and their exposure limits. So it's hard to say, should I do red light therapy twice a day? Should I do it once a day? And, as you're taking the vitamin D and you're taking the seawater and other things, I know that when I worked with a cannabis firm, I got to sit with a scientist from Israel who's had studies for cannabis and CBD. They have studies over there to show that CBD actually helps with bone development. And I got to see those. And from what I gather and what my experience has been, if you're trying to develop bone density, what you're doing with those machines in OsteoStrong is actually providing the stimulation of the platelet of the bone to uptake nutrition. So what you need to do is supply that nutrition to the bone so it can actually develop to a healthier position than it was. So with that being said, it really is determined on how well they're absorbing the diet and those essential nutrients that come in to help sustain that. So that's where it all kind of comes together. CBD is an interesting product because it addresses the endocannabinoid system. The endocannabinoid system, in most people that they found, and they studied the endocannabinoid system before they found out that CBD made a direct correlation with it, was the fact that most people's endocannabinoid system is lethargic. So when you have this lethargic system, you have a different messaging system going on. It's actually shorted out. So as you take this, the CBD, and even with some patients, the THC in certain ratios, this would provide that missing link that would connect and engage, so they could actually convert and the body could actually heal itself. It's very fascinating. But I would say in bone density, I would be taking CBD, the ketone 3.3 and the D3K2.
What about calcium and magnesium?
If that helps.
Yeah, but they say you have to take that. But do you think it's okay to take those together? Calcium and magnesium. Can you take calcium and magnesium together?
Ryan, I can't hear anything.
What?
Yeah, she was saying, can you take calcium and magnesium together?
Can you hear me?
Yep. Yeah. Oh no, you're on mute now. Mute. Ramsay, you're muted. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, she said, can you take calcium and magnesium together?
2-to-1 ratio if you're going to take it. I really wouldn't take calcium myself. I think it's kind of scary, Magnesium, there's some conflicting stuff on that. I think it actually really helps people. They're deficient in it. I can tell you from the Olympic swimmer that we work with, Jamal, he eliminated cramping just utilizing this product here. So I would say I would possibly try this and then see, what happens. I mean, magnesium is an interesting thing. And it can be, obviously it can be very calming. It can get rid of a lot of muscular tension. It can ease digestion. There's a lot of beneficial things to it. It's just, I would tend to steer away from calcium, and there's other things too. I'm always leery of taking high dose concentration of minerals because most of them are very, very difficult to absorb. And the repercussion can be pretty rough too, for people.
So you don't have the calcium, magnesium in the liquid form. The calcium, magnesium.
I'm sorry?
The calcium, magnesium in the liquid form, you don't have calcium or magnesium in the liquid form, so that you can get it into your body quickly.
I think the question was, we don't have calcium in a liquid form.
Correct. Calcium and magnesium. Yeah.
No.
I would actually agree with Ramsay. A lot of the literature with calcium, the issue with calcium is that you're better off absorbing it through food and digestion, because it's actually a product that's difficult for your body to absorb. And that's one thing you have to note is, he talked about is called bioavailability. Is just because you take it and digest it doesn't mean you absorb it in your body. And a lot of vitamins and minerals that you do take goes straight through you and just comes out the other end. So you're basically just wasting your money. Now with calcium, calcium, think of it as like a brick. It's a building block to strengthen your bones. But if you don't have the catalyst with vitamin D and vitamin K to stimulate it, it won't grow what they call osteoblast, to grow the actual bone. If you don't have those, then what happens is the calcium gets diverted into your bloodstream and you get calcification in your veins. That's the issue when you get plaque.
Yeah.
So that's why it's better to just take your calcium through just regular food. Absorb it through regular foods that have high calcium. Make sure you have your vitamin D, vitamin K, because that's the catalyst. Because it's so if calcium is the brick, the D and the K is the cement. But it won't build together unless you actually do like what he's saying. You've got to stimulate your brain to cause osteoblasts to say, hey, I need this, to use it. Otherwise, those ingredients will get thrown away.
Yeah, well said. I mean, it is and when I was a trainer, I used to work with a lot of older gentlemen, and they had heart problems, and they were doing, they would go to Duke Medical Clinic, and they would do calcium scans. And from what I saw, you don't ever want to take calcium. And what I learned about that, and I changed all the vitals to these gentlemen, and how I did it is I fixed their digestive system, and I introduced new greens to them and things that were very dense in calcium, and figured out certain ways like to use blackstrap molasses and all kinds of unique things that you don't necessarily know that had a good calcium bioavailability. Most people think it's milk and dairy products and all that. But what I was experiencing with these gentlemen is that they also had some of these guys had like prone to kidney stones or gout and things like that. So you start to kind of, put the pieces together. And as you understand more about the human body, the minerals really work best in trace amounts. And you figure out the combinations, and you try to really get those, the big guys, the calciums, the magnesiums, out of food the best you can. And when you find that you can't get them, say like the magnesium, then supplement with it, but be smart about how you supplement it, and make sure that you're just trying, you're trying to get the foundational products. You want to make sure that you're doing your due diligence to stay very comprehensive with that, because it's like growing growing a beautiful flower. You have to make sure that soil has all the essential balance of everything in it, so it seeds and so it grows and it flourishes. But if it's missing an element or is deficient in it, it's going to retard the growth. You're not going to get a full development. It's not going to turn into that beautiful plant that you're trying to get. And we're really that plant. We're minerals. We're nothing more than minerals and cells and things like that. But for the most part, you just want to make sure that you're not super dosing minerals. You want to be consistent with the quality of the water that you're getting, whether it has, acknowledge whether it has minerals in it or not. Most people's minerals don't have it in it. If it doesn't have it in it, then you really have to do your due diligence to eat properly and get the essential nutrients in there as well. And when you're dealing with somebody who's trying to strengthen their bones and really develop the uptake at that root level, it's very important.
And there's a reason why these things are called supplements, because it's to supplement the foundation, and your foundation needs to be good, nutrient-dense food, period. You need really, really good, dense food.
Absolutely.
As organic as possible. Yes, you can go vegan. Actually, I personally wouldn't go vegan, because there's just, you're losing a lot of, you don't have the right minerals. But any kind of meats or organic, grass-fed, definitely, because it's pulling all those nutrients out. And hydration, water and sleep. So you have good food.
I'll drink to that.
Good water, good water and sleep. That's your foundation. And movement, move your body, right? It's not doing necessarily vigorous exercise, but just moving the body. And then if you're missing, then you take the supplements on top of that.
So what foods are the best things to get? Because,
That's for the next talk. That's with Sabrina.
What was the question? I didn't even hear it.
So I have a nutrition expert coming in a few weeks.
Okay.
And that's her specialty, because again, we can recommend certain foods to you, but then it may not be compatible to you.
Right.
Some people have digestive issues.
How do you know?
Well, some people have stomach cramps. Some people have poor bowel.
Yeah.
Some people can't sleep. Like certain foods, like nightshades like eggplants, bell peppers. I react to that where it will keep me awake at night, or I'll wake up in the middle of the night. Right?
Well, it's
Certain foods
interesting.
like that.
The nightshades are from the tobacco family. So you have, this is fascinating. We're talking about this now because one of my close friends who runs probably the most cutting edge health and wellness store over in West Hollywood, he for years was a vegan, and he's now like hardcore, what's the carnivore. And he's like, Ramsay, I try to stay humble with this, but what I try to teach people is through your life, you have to be flexible. And I can tell you, like, I was diagnosed with Crohn's when I was 14. I'm now, next month, I'll be 54. My body has changed, and I've made nutritional adjustments as I go. I've never been a big meat eater, but I make sure that I eat red meat at least once every 10 days. I have a really good friend who got the chance to meet the Dalai Lama. When they let him in, he was eating a steak. Now, if you follow the Dalai Lama, he preaches to the kids of Tibet to eat a vegetarian diet. But the problem is that he got a severe B12 deficiency. The only way that he could correct it was through eating meat. So what I say is, to maintain the level of health that you need, eat whatever you need to eat, as long as it's causing a positive return in your system, and your system is letting you know that this is what you should be eating, then that's your answer, really. For me, what I would say to people is, I really just stay true to proteins and vegetables and good quality fats. I kind of just eliminate anything that's a distraction to my system, that's going to cause any sort of disruptions in my energy, mood, and sleep, and overall performance. That's it. And this is something that I've learned to adapt, being sick, working with people, seeing behind the scenes of so many different athletes and things like that. Our marketing systems, our restaurants, the cooking network channels, all this stuff is just set up for us to fail. So we really have to go, make our own strides, figure out our own chemistry, and eat for what is best for us, and that's really kind of thing.
How do you know though that you're doing the best thing for your bones? Because you don't feel your bones, whether they're growing or it's just sort of, you just have to go.
Well, you can actually, that's a good question. How do you know, right? Because some people are very connected to their bodies, some people aren't. And, that's a very, deep thing. I would say you can do bone density testing. You can do blood serum level testing. If you really want to get down to the nuts and bolts and find out really what's going on. But there's a lot of other things that you can look at too. You can look at the strength that you're able to perform at, your energy levels, all these things play into it. Some people can eat a particular diet because they've been told that this is the way to do it, but they feel extremely horrible when they eat that way. And then you see people, a lot of times they'll jump into a vegan diet and all of a sudden they're like, wow, I feel amazing. That's because their tissues are so acidic that they've never really have cleaned their system out. Most everybody has, 6 to a dozen hidden infections in their body that are either dormant or half alive, waiting for that opportunity for them to get turned on. So again, it's one of those things like, and we see this in COVID, why it's affecting so many people, because we're a nation full of diabetes, metabolic disease, and heart disease. So when a virus comes along and the immune system is in the tank, with no vitamin D, it's going to be disastrous. And that's what we're experiencing. So, taking care of your body, getting more in tune with it, doing the necessary tests, and I'm, Brian he's a big biohacker. He'll be able to tell you all the, tests you can run. And I'm sure you guys are you guys going to be performing bone density testing?
Yeah, so we are periodically doing bone density testing, yes. But to answer your question, Mana, yes, but there's the bone density, but also I would be more concerned about just overall health.
Yeah.
Right? Do you have the most energy? Can you sleep? Right? Are you happy? Are you stress-free? Those are the fundamental, and then focus on the bone.
Mental clarity is everything. How well your brain, how your memory, how well you have a certain mood and energy that you bring forth, and how is that conveying? Those are the things that are essential. I think a lot of times people are willing to, what is health? What is it to be healthy? And those are things that you need to really center the building blocks around. And I mean, when you feel good, I always like, if I feel great, everything's got to be good. Who's going to tell me different? The doctor's going to say you're in horrible shape. Well, I feel amazing.
Yeah, they tell you you're going to fall and you're going to kill yourself and you're in doomsville because you have osteoporosis. So I feel fine. I work out every day. I feel great, and I, and then they all have different, things that you're supposed to do. Like these guys are saying, separate the magnesium and calcium and take the D3 and the K2 and one in the morning separate from all the others. And it's like so confusing that it's stressing me out just trying to figure out what to do about it.
I wouldn't stress out. I would say that, Lewis Pauling, Nobel Prize winner, he said, every problem in the body can be traced back to a nutritional deficiency. Okay. And the thing is, if you have a deficiency, you just have to treat it. It's not necessarily always the easy thing to do, but you can group it. And what I mean by grouping it, you can flood it with certain nutrients that aren't going to be harmful. Obviously, vitamin D, you have to be cautious on how much you take for certain individuals. But if you're tested, I would, if you are concerned about it, or if you're working with somebody that's concerned.
Fine. According to tests, everything's fine in my test.
I would get blood lipid profiles done and just do, I've heard Dr. John speak. I mean, basically, these devices that you have access to, I have seen what it can do with people, and it's also a device that's been around for some years before it became into OsteoStrong. So I was aware of it. And I mean, you have access to an amazing device that is, that can stimulate that bone in a way that you could go to the gym and strength train your whole life and not get those type of results, which is unbelievable,
Yeah.
And so I think when you're dealing with people, you're going to stimulate them, and you encourage them to, red light or get into light, get them just active, get them outside in the sun, and then get them to nutrify their system in the proper diet and with supplements that are going to help reassure that they're getting those vital nutrients to help support all those things that they're doing.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep moving on. Valerie, I know you had a question. Yeah.
We were talking about measuring bone density with the test, but you also mentioned the blood could tell you. What in the blood could tell you if your bone density is getting better or not?
It's not, and Brian knows a lot about bone density testing as well. The thing is, it's not going to give you the direct correspondence that the bone density test will. The bone density test, it's like doing a scan, like an MRI, and expecting a blood test to give you the results of an MRI. they're very specific in nature. However, your blood profile, especially when there's a vitamin profile performed, it's going to give you a history of how your body, what it's utilizing in terms of what it's being provided with. Does that make sense? So if you're trying to build a house over here and you're building it with bricks, and minerals are those bricks, how well is that going to convey to build that house that you want? So the nutrients that are in your bloodstream, because your blood is what the cells are traveling throughout your system. So what is supporting that? What do you have to keep that going, in a sense of like, well, I don't have any vitamin B's in my body. Okay. So then you got to see, okay, that's what I need. And then minerals, I don't have. So
Okay, so these are blood tests that are non-traditional, not like you would get at your regular doctor.
Yeah,
You'd have to do a vitamin, test.
Panels and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, pretty much. And you'll have to excuse me, because Ryan's a big biohacker in that world, and OsteoStrong and everything like that. These people are doing the most advanced things, and when I say advanced, I mean really everybody should be doing them, because when you go to your doctor to do a standard blood test, they only, if you go in for a blood draw from a standard doctor, say if it's Kaiser or one of these providers, it falls into the bracket when they scale, say if they even look at vitamin D. They've gotten better at vitamin D, but a lot of the other things, they probably don't even look at them. But if they do, they structure them into a disease population. So the problem is that you're interested in being more athletic, in the sense of, you want the most out of your body. So the test is a very broad reaching thing. So, and they don't give you the numbers. They just tell you, oh, they were good. So the benefit is having a specific test done to find these levels if you're concerned about it and you're really trying to target the best ways to go about it. Otherwise, you can just say, you can just sit down and look at what am I eating and the quality of the food, how it's converting, and look at some of the symptoms that you're challenged with, and just break it down in a simplistic way. And that's a good way to get people just started in the right direction that may not aware, or that are developing themselves to become more aware.
Yeah.
And then when it gets to the pinpoint of, you want to fine tune it. It's like you're throwing the dart at the dartboard. You don't, if you throw it first time and you hit the bullseye, that's like winning the lottery. But if you hit the side of, the side of the wall, at least it was moving in the right direction, and then how do we get that dart to get towards the bullseye? Does that make sense, right?
Yeah, I know, like a lot of functional medicine sites, offer like organic tests and things like that. So I was wondering specifically, just because you guys mentioned the blood, I was wondering what panel it would be. So it's just a vitamin panel is what
you can even get more advanced into terms of the specifics of going after the bone. But in most cases, just the basic understanding of what nutrients are low in your body is going to provide you, because the thing is, your system is very delicate, and it's like blood sugar, right? If you're not balancing your blood sugar, then it's basically everything that you're trying to accomplish can't be accomplished.
If your sugar's too high,
yeah, or too low, so it's like it has to be in balance. When you're dealing with certain nutrients and turning things on, if you don't have enough of certain ones, and then what happens is you end up overdeveloping other levels of nutrients, because it's like the body realizes and it tries to regulate it, because it's just, we're not getting anything, like we're not getting any phosphorus, we're not getting any B vitamins. And so, and then you have like hormonal shifts, you have excessive hunger, You can start having people who have like diabetes symptoms but don't necessarily have diabetes. There's all kinds of different things. They're always thirsty. People that are always thirsty. So there's a lot of, but once you start correcting those, things start to regulate itself. The body's real good about that. And that's why I always say to people, don't eat the same thing all the time. Eat for the season. Choose vegetables that are fresh. Those are going to be the most nutrients. There's a lot of different tricks you can do, to simplify it. I like to go down the route and really get all science and everything. Then I'm like, forget it. Now that I know that, I want to just simplify it so I don't have to overload myself on a day in and day out basis. And I think that when you're working with people, that's kind of, it's kind of good to kind of, when you're guiding them to know, but they don't necessarily, they give them what they want to know, if that makes sense, to help them along their way. Because sometimes it's just too much for people, like it's just like, oh my God, that's overwhelming. I'm just trying to, so just start with 3 things that are going to help them on their journey. If it's bone density, just introduce them to 3 things that they can start to do and master. When they master those 3 things, give them 3 more.
So this product that you're showing us, that is one helpful thing for bone density. But did you say that calcium and magnesium are not part of that formula?
There's only the trace elements. Calcium. When people look at calcium and magnesium, they're looking at heavy doses of them, and you kind of have to forget about that. That's like an old vitamin that prescription.
No, that's fine. I'm just asking because I would like to take that supplement probably, but I have hyperparathyroidism and I shouldn't take any calcium. And I was just concerned if it's trace minerals, but what are the amounts?
I can pull up. Well, basically and that's the other thing. It's in natural balance. So it's not like it is. All the problems that you read of and all the problems that are out there are based off of laboratory formulated products. Okay, so if it's formulated, especially with something so delicate as a mineral, and you're also, this is a trace element from nature. So you're a product of nature. It is the same correlation that is coming into your system. What you will not absorb is discarded. Whereas when you take a capsule or something of something that's been formulated in a lab, we don't. This is not something we make. We haven't really even gotten into the Quicksilver stuff. This is just taken from the ocean in a protected sea plankton bloom. So this is just straight from nature. It's not gonna get. In World War I and II, people were dying because there wasn't enough blood. This is what they were putting into the IVs to
So it sounds like you don't need it. You don't have to worry about overdosing on calcium.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Just so everybody knows, I've had people come up to me when they know that I'm dealing with this product. My husband beat HPV by squirting it on his throat. I had, severe IBS, completely went away with this product. I had osteopenia for years. I started using this product. It's gone. I've heard so many things. We're not even really supposed to get into the medical attributes of this product. This is just, like when anything new is introduced to you, what I would say to you is just do a little bit of fun research on it. What you'll come back with is like, this product, there's nothing like it. How this product even came into the retail space was the original founder of Erewhon, which that store has been around for 25 years now. He went to his naturopath and put him on this product. He demanded that he could sell it to his customers at the store. That's how it came in, because he felt it was such an amazing product. That's how it kind of came to be. It's a very, I think when you're looking at certain health conditions and things like that, you don't have to worry about it causing, knocking down something to create an imbalance. It's actually going to come in and give you just what you need. And in a situation with parathyroid, I can't think of a better product for you to utilize to help with any sort of mineral instability.
Well, thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
So time's like run away. It's been like an hour. We've talked one product. We have 49 more products to go. So do you guys have like 49 hours left? Yeah, I mean, let's keep going for if people want for maybe like 10 more minutes, because I know it's already top of the hour. I don't know what's your timing, Ramsay.
Well, as long as this is working for people, let's just take care of it. Yeah.
Okay. Irene and Victoria, I know you're on the call. Any questions you want to ask?
And I just want to say something too.
Yeah.
You know, these are new products to you. I don't expect to pick them up right away. You know, and we'll be in contact again. And if you have questions, write them down, and I'll get you the answers you need. But take a few minutes just to do some research on your own. These are unbelievable products. I've been taking products my whole entire life, as Brian has. And one of the reasons why I chose to work with this company, because I wanted to work with the best products, and I wanted products that actually made a difference. And it's amazing how many products out there that don't really do anything. But they do have a certain marketing twist, or they complete a number. You know what I mean by that is, like, if somebody needs, somebody needs to take a D, D supplement. You can just go into, say, Walgreens and buy one, right? It's cheap. It's like, I don't know, $8 or whatever. Our vitamin D, I think, is like $45, $50. But there's a big difference in how that Honda Civic is going to drive to the Mercedes, and the performance of the two, and the difference of how much you're going to utilize of that substance. So that's the thing is, and it's when I say, okay, when you take this product, you hold it under your tongue, and then it's absorbed into your bloodstream. I have talked to people for 20, 30 minutes, and they take it and they shoot it down like they're at a tequila bar. You're still going to get it absorbed into your system. The ideal delivery is to let it set there so it breaks into the cell and systemically goes into the body. That's what the product is really designed to do. And that's when it's at its most effective concentration. But again, these are a lot of, it's some new stuff. It's exciting because, again, you're doing extremely exciting, amazing things at OsteoStrong. And these are going to be, as a trainer for many years, I got into another field, but this is like, looking back, I'm like, oh my, I was talking to Brian, I'm like, oh my God, if I had this back in the day, this is just unbelievable. The result that you can get with people in just a short period of time and how you can change their lives, it's phenomenal. And I've seen it with my friends, their parents. I mean, it's astounding. And I think the perfect combination of these products and all the lifestyle counseling and all the stuff that you guys are doing, I don't think there's a better lifestyle, I don't even know what you call it, a gym practice, whatever you're dealing. I think you guys are on the cutting edge. I think it's super exciting.
Great. Thank you. Irene, got a question?
No, I don't have.
No. Okay. Victoria.
I have a question, Brian. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Hey, Ramsay, it's Victoria.
Victoria, hello. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I can't see a face.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm eating dinner, so. Anyway, I was cooking and eating dinner and listening at the same time.
Okay.
So I got the liposomal ultra vitamin, and I also got the immune, and I also got the one. Yep. So I'm taking the one every day.
Okay.
Yes. And I decided to alternate days with the ultra vitamin and then the immune. Is that, what do you think about that?
Well, I think you're a genius, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Well, and let me guess, you probably looked at the label, didn't you? You cheated and looked at the label, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
I know you. So the thing is that, and I'll share a little secret, but it has to stay between us, okay?
Okay.
When the Immune Charge came out, I'll get you the big box so you can kind of see. I looked at it and I said, hold on a second. That's ultravitamin with elderberry and a strong combination of C in it. And so I'm thinking in my mind, I'm just going to take the Elder C with the ultravitamin, right? So, and of course that was with mixed reviews at the people in Colorado, but yeah, I mean, basically you have all the goodies in there. The difference is, and I'll tell you right now, it's that vitamin C. The vitamin C content of 2,000 milligrams of this guy, and I can't see it on this, but I think it's 1,000 if I remember right.
Yeah, I don't have my real good glasses on right now. I can't see.
Yeah, I can't.
Okay.
I can't. I'll get it. Hold on one second. Give me 1 second here. But I look at these labels all
The
day
Immune
long.
Charge?
So
Immune Charge has 833 milligrams vitamin C.
And then the
So there's actually 110 milligrams in the ultravitamin, and in the Immune Charge there's 2,000 milligrams. So
Right.
a big punch. Now, again, let's just look at a couple different things. I don't want to confuse anybody, but with the Immune Charge, we have the vitamin D in that. We're at 2,500 international units.
Right.
So that's a decent amount of D to be taken. Like for me, this is fine. I don't need to take the DK2. This is enough for me. D3K2. This is good. But if it's somebody that needs that 10,000 international units, 5,000 to 10,000, then the standalone D3K2 would be a justified product. And that's some of the trickery that you can kind of play with as you get more familiarized with the product. But as a general rule of thumb, especially with our COVID right now, either one of these is going to be really good. The Immune Charge or the ultravitamin. The Immune Charge is really set up because it has the higher concentration of C and the elderberry in it. 200 milligram of the elderberry. So that is, that's a nice little immune booster. And that combination doesn't exist in the ultravitamin, but I would say getting a nice comprehensive bang for your buck, one day having the other one and going to the other one is actually really a good idea. Okay, good. Because that's what I've been doing. And I also do the one every day though. Yeah. And my thing with the one is, so I've had a lot of guys that have had, whether it's low adrenal, erectile dysfunction, just poor mental clarity, or just exhaustion. If somebody says they have exhaustion, I start them off every day, the one for at least 1 week. I'm sorry, at least 2 weeks. If they're exhausted, then I'll extend that up to a month. If it's somebody that is just wanting the mitochondrial anti-aging benefits, I have them take it for every day for a week, then back off to every other day. Okay. Yeah. And you can,
if they're exhausted every day for 1 month.
If they're wiped out, I would say start with 2 weeks. Hey, how are you feeling? Feeling better? And then taper it off to, because the thing is, and I always try to be mindful of two things. I don't want people to be overdosing. And when I mean overdosing, I don't mean getting sick or anything like that. I just mean like, okay, I'm always one of the guys that less is more, but I want to make sure that dosing is appropriate. And the thing is also cost effective, because you want somebody that's going to be has consistency with a program that wants to follow through. And who knows, they're taking other things too. Very seldom does somebody just take one product. One of the things that I've learned with this though, if somebody has low energy or is not feeling good in some capacity, when they start taking a few of our products, they want to take like 7 of them. and if they have money to do that, just watch out, because they will. So what I always, focus on the 3 health concerns, that what is really troubling them and what's their concern. And I would work on those. And then when they start to make changes and do better, then you can, adapt something new and a direction that is going in the same vicinity that they were initially, what the goal was at the start of everything.
Great. Good. Thank you. Yeah, no, these vitamins have been really great. I've been on them probably like a week now. And I do not like taking pills. To have the liquid has been phenomenal. And I definitely have had some digestive issues where, like last August, August 2019, I had really good vitamin D levels. And then 2020 August, they dropped. And I've been in the sun, and so I'm just not absorbing. So I've had some digestive issues. So to have this liposomal and have the D be able to absorb through my mouth has been really amazing. So
yeah,
really
that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. And it really, the bioavailability of everything is really what we're trying to attain, because when we can change that, and there's a lot of biohackers that I've talked to, and when we do the shows and all that stuff, that they really don't eat a lot. When you start talking to these guys, and they're very specific on how they eat, and they love our products because, again, they're getting the nutrients in the right areas that you want. And you start to see when people aren't eating as much and as often, because most people take pills with food, and you're kind of, they have a sensitive digestive system. It's kind of recommended in that capacity. And one thing I've learned is I don't really, I don't take anything with food anymore. And this is coming from a guy with Crohn's disease. The only thing I take with food is digestive enzymes once in a while. But these products, you want to make sure that you take away from food because of the phospholipids, especially if you were having fat in the diet, because it will just make you want to go to the bathroom.
Okay, that's good. I'm glad that was actually going to be my next question, because like sometimes I space them out. Like I'll take the one in first thing in the morning and then the vitamins in the afternoon. So sometimes I don't wait the 10 minutes. Like I'll hold it in my mouth for 30 seconds. So you really recommend that truly waiting those 10 minutes before eating anything?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I would, in some of our detoxification stuff, like we have this one called the Push Catch, which is the liver sauce with the binder, and you take that product, and then you half hour, 45 minutes later, you take the binder to pick up all the stuff that's been shot out the gallbladder into the digestive space and then taken out. Now, it's really timing. I really try to, when I use our products, I'm at least 45 minutes away from food, sometimes more. And,
okay.
Yeah, and then I'm drinking water too. I let it set. Sometimes I hold it for like 2 minutes. 30 seconds is appropriate, but I'll hold it longer. And then I'll swallow it, have a little water with it, because it's gone into the cell. Now it goes in the digestive space, and you're going to get a secondary absorption out of it as well. But again, hydrating the cell. And when we talk about hydrating the cell, it's coming into the cell, and then you want the cell to be hydrated so it can move. And so It's very important. And the other thing is, I learned this years ago with the Crohn's disease, is I never, obviously never drink any fluids at mealtime. So so when I eat, I slow down, I harness the digestive juice to help break down the natural production of enzymes. And then after, 45 minutes to an hour later, then I'll take it. Or I'll take it prior to eating. If I know I'm going to eat in like 45 minutes to an hour, then I'll take it then,
Mhm.
you know, in that capacity. And this is coming from a guy that all, you know, when I took pills, I had to always have food and that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's a totally different thing. Totally different thing.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, I definitely hold off on my water while I eat, so my digestive enzymes are stronger.
Beautiful.
So, yeah,
Beautiful.
good. Well, this has really been informative. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
Good. If there's any more questions?
I have something to talk. Can I say something real quick? Because I just was thinking about something you said, Brian. So Brian, you said that like you can't take the one. You've had to back off on it and stuff like that because it's.
Yeah.
So this is it's not a cup of coffee. However, it is it's Chinese and Ayurvedic adaptogens. Now, this can actually provide extreme kick for people. And my suggestion is this is really kind of a morning tonic or not after 3. Okay, so that's been my opinion, you know, and feedback from people and things like that. NAD is kind of the same thing. The NAD gold is kind of the same thing. Now, for me, if I was to take these two, I'm like doing jumping jacks. It's crazy. But again, my system's relatively clean, so therefore, you know, somebody who's not may not get that response. But when you do have feedback, like I got feedback, you know, before we were even talking, Brian was saying, "Hey, I've been taking the one, but yeah, Ramsay, I've been waking up sometimes at night and I'm just not sleeping right." So I said, Brian, you know, just take it in the morning, and I would say every other day, and see how that goes, because there's a lot of benefits. And what I like about the one, and how the name from the one came, is if you only had to take one thing, this would be it. And if you were to ask me in a simplistic way of somebody, because I deal with a lot of people, you know, I have a lot of friends, and they're like, you got to help my parents, you got to, you know, like, and the last thing I'm ever going to do is give people 9 different supplements to take. So what I do is I give them what's called the Chi Builders. So I have ultra vitamin in the one. So basically I have all the vitamins, and then I have all the adaptogens, PQQ, resveratrol, CoQ10, and this is a heavy support of all the production of healthy mitochondrial cells. When you have one of the things I would do at OsteoStrong is I would promote, and we haven't talked about this, Brian, but I'll tell you, vitamin D levels, I would promote selling these two and getting in front of the red light. Obviously, you know, exercise their bones too, but, you know, to really help develop, and on the days they can't come to see you, get out in the sun without any sunglasses on for, you know, start them at 5 minutes, you know, just something, you know, but this is going to really help. Dave Ashby wanted to private label this one, and Chris said, no, there's no other product on the market like this one. It's unbelievable.
So Ramsay, can you take the ultra vitamin and the one at the same time? I've kind of been breaking it up.
No, you can, and absolutely. I think what I do is I have a little shot glass and I mix them and done. You know, because I'm never one of these guys to sit there and like, when I'm doing a cleanse, then I'm putting all these things together and stuff like that. But I don't, you know, like right now I'm doing a parasite cleanse because I got a birthday coming up, and I need to euthanize my cells pretty much. But on a day-in-a-day basis, I definitely mix them, you know, put them together. They're yeah. And I would for me, once in the morning and I'm good, you know, I mean, I don't really have any, the only time I really feel that for myself anyway, drop off is if, you know, if I didn't eat on time in the afternoon. But other than that, and I follow intermittent fasting, you know, the science is there and it works for me. It's not for everybody per se, but it tends to work for me. And I still eat 3 times a day, and I eat a pretty good amount. I'm a pretty straightforward eater. I mean, good vegetables and proteins, and I don't over supplement, but I take the right supplements. And then, I try, I exercise with bands. I do qigong. I try to get in the sun, play with my dog. I try to, I'll go walk. I'll do breathing exercises. I'll get in the sauna. And not every day, but these are things that I incorporate into my life just to, make me feel good and make my cells happy. Happy body, happy life.
Ramsay, I had a quick question. I'm
Sure.
taking the vitamin C with elderberry and glutathione. Can I mix them together? Or can I do the 10 minutes, do it in the morning, wait the 10 minutes and then take the second product?
You can separate them you can separate them for sure. To make it easier, you can take them together.
You can take them together?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can take them together, yeah. It's, before COVID, we used to do conferences and stuff like that. I would make cocktails or shots for people. And Chris, we'd be at a, function or whatever. The stuff that, it'd be like spilling over that shot glass of, and so, yeah, you can definitely mix them together. It's not a problem. And glutathione, that's just so you know, that glutathione product is stronger than the IV drip. It is, it stays in the body for 6 hours. And the IV drip stays in the body for almost 5.5. And we have clinical studies to support that. Our B12 gets in faster at a higher concentration, but ends up at the same point over a long period of time as the injectable form of B12. So that kind of shows you how unique these were. And I think I mentioned last time we spoke too, Brian, that how we became an essential business at the beginning of COVID is because our vitamin C rivaled the vitamin C drip. So ours is more effective than the vitamin C drip, which is fascinating. But
really,
yeah. Unless you really like needles, you don't. I was going to show you the B12 is like. Hold on one second, I'll grab it. So this is the B12, and this requires no refrigeration. Now that glutathione requires refrigeration, and so does the one.
okay. Okay, the C does too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Vitamin C doesn't require refrigeration right away. Once it's opened, it does. Unless it's the vitamin C with our lipoic that we have. That one requires direct refrigeration. But
with what?
We have a vitamin C with our lipoic.
No, this is with elderberry.
Yeah, elderberry, as long as I have one right here. It's not refrigerated. If I open this, then it's going to require refrigeration.
Most of the products do, right? Even
no. We have about 6 right now that require. I think 7 now because NAD Platinum came on board. But the ones that you have right now, the one and glutathione require full-time refrigeration because it's very shelf. It has a stability issue with it. Because those ingredients are active, and so once it's opened, there's a certain amount of time that you have to
60 to 30 days. I think you have to use it.
Yes.
Okay.
But
also, I noticed there's a lot of sodium in the vitamin C formula. Is there a reason why they put so much in there? Is there another vitamin C that might be lower? It's 125 milligrams.
I I wouldn't really look at that as being necessarily a bad thing. Again, unless it's somebody that has an extreme, blood pressure problem. But to be honest with you, usually blood pressure is a cell spacing problem too, and hydration problem. But again, dietary, and a lot of dietary problems are long-standing in the sense of like you can, like if we go to McDonald's right now and eat whatever they serve there, I don't know what they serve, but and we tested our blood, we would have that obviously in it. But there's people that are walking around with a high sodium because the residual effect of eating such exorbitant amount of processed food. Then you have to kind of look at the problem of that. And if it was a situation,
Well, I mean, it's not that high. I just noticed that it comes with sodium, and I was kind of surprised to see that.
It probably more than likely has a lot to do with the stability of the product, and how, the one thing about liposomes, there's certain things you can't put in the liposome. So but it has to stay in that form. It's a bilayer that wraps it, and so it protects it. But it's just really a stability deal. I mean, it's not necessarily, and like I said, I don't think it's going to be a problem or a deterrent for anybody. I've dealt with people that are very, very sensitive to it, and when you get down to it, they need to make some changes, and how direct them in the right ways, and addressing those things that help them out.
How much vitamin C would you recommend for COVID protection?
Well, that's a very good question. I would say on average, start somebody with 200 milligrams, or 2,000 milligrams.
Yes.
And you could take that up as high as 10. You can, and it depends on the individual, and it depends for how long. Most of the clinical cases that I've seen with COVID, sometimes they take it above 10, but you really have to look at like, the loose stool, digestive distress, right? I mean, when someone undergoes digestive distress, that's a direct answer to what the solution that you're trying to get. Because you want somebody, it's important to keep the digestive space in a healing environment. When it becomes irritated, exacerbated, and under stress, then you're not absorbing anything. Then it's a guessing game of what is going to be brought in. So you always want to stay within that realm. To give you an idea, my friend worked for Nordic Naturals. Nordic Naturals treated NFL players for concussions. They were upwards of 30 grams of fish oil, which, I don't know if you ever take fake fish oil, but I tap out probably around 5 or 6, but they found that actually they were regenerating the brain tissue, but it's a high concentration. Since that time, they've now changed it into different formats to get that kind of dosing without, and again, the digestive space is what provides the answer for that,
Okay, thank you.
Awesome.
Sorry, I got to leave. Thank you.
All right. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Valerie. All right. So let's call it a night. It's been wealth of knowledge from Ramsay.
Thank you.
I know that we have another 45 hours to go to go through all the different products.
You gotta send me home, right? You gotta well, I mean, the thing is just, I'm here. These are very unique products, and don't be threatened by them, because they're not, it's just new, it's just new, that's all.
Yeah.
And once you kind of get an idea of using some of them and getting familiarized with them, and I always say, look, we do have some interesting combinations, but these there's some nutrients that have come into the market that are new, but most of them have been around a while. They're just in unique combinations and they're in a unique delivery system, and they're gonna help people, and that's the easiest way to kind of not be, intimidated by it.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody. Have a good night, and
Thank you.
we'll talk to you later.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. All
Okay,
right.
bye. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.